All right, I'm assuming I'm recording. Today is August the 14th, 2024. Just a little side note, will get you up to par. I'm up to speed later on in this talk, webinar, seminar, chat, whatever you want to call it. But it's my dad's birthday, long story short. As I was laying at a friend's house, being that at this point in time in my life, I've been displaced for the time being. And as I lay listening to some meditation music, it came over me. My quest on my self journey was to heal. And as I lay listening to the music and the melodies of the meditation, something came over me to come outside, to get on my phone, to do a recording. I'm not really familiar with how to do the podcast or whatever it is that they do now, but I'm just going to be obedient in the hopes that it will not only bring healing for me, but for healing to others as well that may someday, somehow be able to hear this very first message that I do want to eventually be a podcast from I Heart You. I Heart You is a seminar, webinar, topic, conversation piece, or whatever that was birthed out of incest, my own personal experience of a sexual assault, abuse, whatever you have it, whatever topic it may be up under or title. I had, I don't know, what I would say, something just came over me to come out and finally speak my truth. As life has taken me up and down, round and back the block a time or two. Yes, people, I'm smoking. You will always see the most authentic, raw, realist me that you can see. I'm sitting in my car. I'm displaced at this moment. I'm living at a friend's. But for some reason, there is a must. And I do trust that this message needs to be spoken, not only for myself, but for many and maybe even millions of others. Backtrack some. Yeah, anxiety, PTSD, bipolar disorder has been my diagnosis. Once I realized that there was definitely an issue, too many reoccurring circumstances, situations. And in it, I learned that tonight that I had not truly healed, that I had allowed incest to pretty much reign. I feel like reign, rule, dictate, force, however I could put it, me into places and situations and predicament that kept reoccurring, repeating themselves in a vicious cycle. And as I thought on it tonight, the vicious cycle that started this cycle was a cycle of incest that was in my bloodline, my family, my relatives, kin folks, my people that I was entrusted to, or born into that family, that lineage, that bloodline. But nevertheless, as I think upon it tonight, again, my quest has always been to be free, to be me. I realized I had given incest a home. And that home was within me. I had begun to house it. And it's funny how the similarities is coming to me as I speak. Not only had I housed it, I'm now in a housing. It's kind of a crisis situation, whatever you may have it. But again, I needed to get this message out, not only out to you, but out of me and out to me as well. Incest had already had a home. I didn't have to house incest. It had been in my house and in my family, and had been allowed to roam into have its way and to fest and fester and linger and live and abide and reside in a home in which I was reared or raised or brought up in. And it has ran its course. It has ran itself rapid long enough. So I'm saying on this night to myself and to you that it does tentatively have an end. And since I stand here or sit, I should say before you, I've decided that tonight is the end. That I can come on here and unashamedly, unafraid, unbothered, unworried, bold, freely, confidently, before you and say that it's okay for me to release it, to not continue to give it a home, and to be able to come to that realization that it does not dictate who I am, until I give it that right, that ability, that authority. It came by way of a demon of lust and perversion and greed and pride, that again was in my bloodline as I discovered, and I began to study not just my upbringing but myself, and realized that it needed to run its course, and it should have long time ago. But with it, as I was saying, thank you for bringing me back to where I needed to be. Ran rapid. How's it? It came with the spirit. Thank you. Of pride, lust, greed, and all of those things. And for me, as the incest came or was passed down or handed down as an heirloom, is handed down in a family or amongst generations and relatives and kin folks, and however you want to name it or call it, it began to be passed down and around as an heirloom in my family and my lineages and my home, where I reside and lived, and amongst the ones who I felt should have trusted, I should have been able to trust, and I was entrusted to those that my innocence wouldn't have been compromised, and was expected to carry that responsibility to secure, to make me feel safe and protected and loved and valued and appreciated, was the very same family that stripped me of a choice, of an innocence, of a purity, of dreams, hopes, desires, to be a very force of nature on this place that we call Earth. And I have been to a certain degree, but not to the degree that I know I can be and I should be and I deserve to be. I was created to be. I was destined and purposed to be. I've allowed it to not be because of the shame, the guilt, the pain, the hurt, the heartache, the unwillingness to be fully and truthfully transparent, not only with myself, but with, maybe with me and within myself, but with a very wide range or spectrum of people that may be, or may some other time in this lifetime or on their walk or on their journey may have or have endured, past tense, are enduring or will endure down the line, that I discovered that I needed to know that it was okay to heart me on tonight. That I've discovered that it was okay again to love me, even in the midst of being thinking, knowing, believing, and feeling. Now, you guys, for 54 years of my life, soon to be 55 in December, that it was who I was, and that it wore me and was on me and adorned me like a scarlet letter S. If anybody can relate to that. It was a book many, many moons ago about this lady who felt like she had been stained, and the stain was an unremovable stain. And back in the olden days and times, I can remember if you were an adulterer, that they would sometimes take an A and put it on your chest, and they would mark you or allow that to have branded you or cause you to feel branded, or even be branded in their eyes, stained, discarded, less than, undeserving of, the lowest of the low. However you felt or feel or have had the thoughts of you feeling that way, I'm here tonight, first and foremost, for my freedom, for my truth, for my transparency, for me, again, the me that I've looked for, searched for, longed for before a time that I didn't feel, before the time that I didn't feel unconfident or insecure, before the time where I felt beautiful, and the time that I had dreams and goals and aspirations, and that a time that I knew that what I had, the God-given gift, that had been endowed and parted and entrusted to me, I allowed a past circumstance to begin to cause interference in my now. And I'm just now realizing that it has done it up until now, to be honest. And so, again, in a quest, in a desire, and a thirst, and a quench to be the authentic me, the version of me that I was truly meant to be, destined, purposed, and that I was endowed and, I don't know, given and bestowed, and I could go on, entrusted to, that I needed to be free to be able to do that. I always prayed and I sought a power that's greater than me, but yet lives inside of me, to be free, to truly be healed, saved, set free, and delivered, and that I, with anything that He had given me, would be able to give it back, and that I would give Him glory for everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent of this story, about an amazing Father's glory. So that is and forever will be my forever, never ending story. The glory, the grace, the love, the understanding, the compassion, the dedication, the commitment, the unwavering power or presence that would lead me, guide me, protect me, and provide me for me up until this point. But yet it was something that I knew was still holding me, and I could feel the hold and the hindrance, and I began to become aware of my very own self-sabotaging, and just so afraid to be great, to be the me that I was endowed and that I was destined and purposed to be. All because of me feeling and looking at myself at the time that once was. Never honestly really taking time or to think or ponder on the time that yet is and the time that yet could be far after that. I had set my sights and been sideswiped and duped by the devil, the enemy, whatever a power of force, be it diabolical, demonic, satanic, whatever the force was that was holding me or preventing me from being real with me, that it has to this point again dictated and had played a major part in my life. My light just went off, y'all. I hope my battery don't go dead. But in the morning, I have worked. But I've allowed it, and it had played. But I have allowed it, and I had allowed it to play a major part in my life. As a matter of fact, not only had it played a major part in my life, but it had become my life. It had become the obsession or possession of my life. And only because I had allowed it to and given it the power to. Because it lived in the darkness. It abided in the darkness. It walked in the darkness. It lurked in the darkness. It lusted in the darkness. It had its way in a family lineage in the darkness. And again, I said prior to this, if this video goes out and I've filmed it and recorded it right, that it had been going on way before me. And so for me to take that on became a big burden because everybody else wanted it to stay in the dark. And I knew that the Spirit of a living God does not dwell in the dark, that He needs light to be able to dwell. And that part of my life, or that part that I had allowed to become my life and be my life, dwelt in the darkness. It still dwelt in the darkness. And not only did it dwell in the darkness, it had kept me in the darkness. And so as I seek light and as I desire to be a light and walk in the light and live in the light, I had to bring this to light to be able to live in the light so that I could become the light. So if it's anybody out there listening that will look, and this is not going to be for everybody, and then if it ain't for you, then oh well, let it be true. But for those of you that know that you have lived this lie, or lived this secret, or lived this silence for any part or portion of your life, you can relate to this. So this is, again, I heart you, me, you, and anybody else that has ever had to live this life, live it in the darkness and not allow it, or has not allowed it to come to the light. It manifested itself in darkness. It grew in darkness. It was nurtured in darkness. It was fed upon in darkness. It was giving its fire, its fuel. It was giving its freedom in the darkness. And so for some reason, and it may be just surely out of my obedience, my longing, my quest, my desire, whatever it may be, the reason on this night that I was allowed to share this, to bring it from the darkness to the light, so that I could be the best version of me that I could ever be, that I was purposed, destined, born, or created to be. Again, I heart you. I love you. You allowing yourself to love you again. to be confident in you again, to trust your ability to choose, even though it may have been stripped away, taken away by force, by violence, a sexual assault, a sexual deviance, a sexual lust, desire of another. It doesn't mean it has to stay there. So tonight I've decided, I guess morning, I'm not even sure, that don't matter, that I will heart me, that I will allow myself to love me again, to love me to the light, to love me to confidence again, to love me to boldness. And yeah, I'm wiping my nose as well, to love me past the addiction that had allowed me to stay in that darkness and to dwell there. Yeah, that spirit came with it as well. A spirit of perversion, coercion, if you can name it, it came with it. And so though something may be seemingly one thing, that there is always a root cause or an underlying issue. It may even come in tools and components, and it may come in groups and herds and packs and whatever you call it. In the Bible days, they call it a spirit of Leviathan, and it was many legions. Thank you. It was legions. It was many, and so can that spirit of lust, of sexual deviancy, spirit of perversion, rape, molestation, incest, any of those things. It comes also with the spirit that they call incubus and succubus, and it allows that spirit of lust to begin to make clusters and begin to live once it's been exposed in one place. It's like a spider, and I don't know, this is just a download tonight, and I gotta allow it to go forth. It looks like a spider, it becomes a spider, and that's the very belly of it, which is the lust. And then it begins to grow and manifest, and you got a leg that comes off the here, and now you got sexual perversion, and you got incubus and succubus, and you got brothers sleeping with brothers, and you got brothers molesting and incesting their sisters, and you got uncles on incest, raping and forcing themselves on, and climbing into bed with nieces and with moms, and sons in the bed with moms. And I mean, it comes with so much. So for those of you don't know what you're dealing with, what spirit that you've been carrying around, or why you do what you do, why you feel what you feel, you can't stay in a committed relationship, you got trust issues, you don't like the light on having sex, you can't be in the dark, you gotta have some type of music, you may say nightmares, so some people call them night terrors. It comes with a lot, and I'm just here to share this tonight, that as it helps me to become healed, saved, set free, and delivered, that it would also be able to do it for you, and not just you, because it's not just me. Again, it ran down and was allowed to roam and maneuver freely. And so we're talking about a generation before me. You're talking about me, and now you're talking about my daughter, and then now you're talking about my daughter's daughters, and we're talking about, that's just how this thing goes down. A family tree. This how it is allowed to roam. And for those of you that may be on here or get on here or tune into this eventually, because it will become the podcast, in our community, and when I say our, I say sisters of color, melanated women, men, boys, girls, and children. And our culture, we've been taught in the black community, what goes on in our house stays in our house. And we've been known to sweep a lot of things, and certain things under the rug, and certain things will come to the light, and certain things may never come to the light. but I'm bringing light to my situation. And hopefully as this becomes a podcast or whatever the Father allows to do for his glory, so let it be. But I know that I will from this point on in my life be the one that loves me, be the one that makes me feel secure, be the one that keeps me stable, be the one that protects me, be the one that's there for me, because no one else was or no one else had been, and to be honest, no one else is. If you are joining in again and you see this, it is all about truth, my truth, your truth. And if you never speak your truth, I'm the spokesman of truth. So I'll speak the truth for you. I'll be the voice for the voiceless, those that are suffering in silence, and those that have battled or still battling with these issues and situations that, again, in our melanated communities, we're saying goes on in our house, stays in our house. And we're saying that we're going to sweep it under the rug. And how long can dirt stay under a rug? I mean, how many piles and heaps of it, and how many times we going to continue to say what go on in this house stays in this house? Well, I'm going to tell you, as for my house, again, from what I know and I've been told, and a lot of it is secret. They seem like an ancient Chinese secret, but there is no more secrets for me. They will be exposed. There will be more coming. I'm going to continue to expose and bring exposure to that which lies, resides, abides, and is allowed to live, manifest, roam, run free and recklessly and loosely, and to run havoc, wreak havoc over homes and over generations of people, because it breeds hurt, and it just goes on and on and on. And if I'm the one that said the buck stops here, and that the healing takes place, and that I will be the one to leave behind a legacy and build a legacy and leave behind legends of women, men, boys, and girls, and people that overcame, that were able to bring that from the darkness and allow it to be given to the light, so that we would be able to become the children of light, and that we would walk in our light, because that's the desire, to keep us in darkness, to keep us to not let our light shine, to not come to the light or in the light. But tonight is light. I light it up tonight. It's in the light. It's in the light. So do not allow it. And again, generations of incest, rape, molestation, hurt, terror, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, mental shutdowns, meltdowns, whatever you have it, call it or name it. I'm calling it free. I'm calling it saved. I'm calling it delivered. I'm calling it light on tonight. I'm calling it ended. I'm calling it a cease. I'm calling it kaput, no more. I'm calling it to the light on this night. Not only for me, but for the me's after me, and the me after that me, the me before me, and the me before that me. Again, this is how many times it's been allowed to be swept under the rug, and it's been allowed to not, what goes on this house, stay in this house. Generation after generation after generation. And we wonder, my people, I'm specifically speaking to my culture, my people, melanated, my sisters, my brothers, my folk. We allow it to do that because we keep our silence. It silences us. It wants to mummify us. It wants to close our mouth, shut our lips, shut us down, prevent us from going forth and forward, prevent us from being that light that we were destined and purposed to be. Because let's be clear here, there's a space for darkness. And when darkness has had its space, light comes, thus causing night to become day. And in the day, there is light. At the end of the day, its light. And so again, to be able to shed some light so that we don't allow, I will not, I refuse, I can't rest. I've been given a charge to keep, I have, and I'm going to keep it, to speak on it, to bring it to the light. That many men, women, boy, girl, whoever, whatever culture, whatever nationality, your creed, your sexual choice, preference, whatever it is, that you will be able to live in your truth, that you will be able to be transparent, that you will no longer be silenced, that you will no longer be mummified, that you will no longer have to try to reside in dark and in light. That you can actually finally come forth. Just like in the Bible when Jesus told, come forth, Lazarus, come forth. Take off your grave clothes. And so tonight, today, this morning, I take off the grave clothes. No longer will I allow sexual molestation, rape, incest, lust, perversion to have its way in my life, to continue to control my path, my destiny, my outcomes, my situations, my relationships, my job. It has cost me. And so when I come on here and I speak my truth and I allow darkness to be brought to the light, don't ever take a word, people, that I say to you for granted. Don't take it lightly. Don't take it like you swept it off. Because at the end of the day, it was a great cause. And I took a vow that whatever it cost, however long it took, and whatever path I had to walk, that in the end, that it would not be allowed to win. That light would find its place. That I would find my purpose. That I would live in my truth. That I would be transparent. That I would be the spokesman, the spokesperson that I told everybody I would be. That I would be the poet that I was destined to be. That I would be that multi-millionaire that I was destined to be. That I would be that philanthropist that I was destined to be. That I would be the healer that I was destined and purposed to be. That I would live out the promise that was given to me. That I would be able to lay these very hands on the sick and they recover. That I would be able to raise the dead. Heal the brokenhearted. Mend them. Mend the brokenhearted. That I would walk in truth. That I would walk in the light. That I would give glory for every page of this story. Because had it not been for God's glory, for His love, for His grace, for His compassion, for His dedication, for His ear to hear, that out of everything in the world, be it money, silver, or gold, prestige, or title, if I didn't get a dime, and if I don't ever get a dime, what I will get is a peace that surpasses all understanding. That I would be able to provide or give a smidget of that very peace that surpasses all understanding to someone else on their journey. That I would be able to tell them that we truly do overcome them by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So this is my testimony. This is my testimony. But it is not my life. It is not me. It is not the end of my story, nor is it the beginning. Alpha and Omega will always and forever be the beginning of my story and the very ending of my story. Incest is not my story. Rape is not my story. Lust is not my story. So for each and every one of you that has ever thought, believed, or I led to believe that there will be a book, y'all thought y'all was going to be able to take a look. Every last one of you dirty crooks. Never that. It is a story that was lived. I lived the story. I am the story. I'm an open book. So go ahead and take a look. To God be all the glory for what he has done, for what he has yet to do, and what he will continuously do in my life. This is just the beginning, baby. The ending of a very new beginning, of a different sort, of a different kind this time around. I just had to come back round one more time to give you a very sincere prophetic rhyme. Hear the wind chime. Yeah, this me. The one that finally was saved, delivered, and set free. And my story, I ain't have nothing to do about now one of you. I could give two. Thank you. Cares less, because I still want to be blessed. So I ain't going to get messy. I'm not going to get messy. But it was all well. It was and it will be and it is all well with my soul. Everything. And everything he ever promised me. Trust you me. It's mine. It's mine. It's been mine. I always had mine. And I will always have mine. Because I already know he ain't lying. He done showed me too many times. Multifaceted, multi-millionaire, multi-talented, traveling around the world, speaking my truth, living in the light, being saved, set free, delivered, doing the will of him that has called me, working while it is day, because I realize now that no man can work when night comes. My words is going to be for some. It ain't for everybody. But one thing you will know, the real going to know real. They going to recognize real. Because that's what I'm going to do. Give them the spiel, and I'm going to keep it real. KIR, baby, that's coming. Keep it real network. I'm going to show you how he work. Now watch him work. Watch him work. I just had to twerk some things. Leave some things and some people alone behind. And baby, I'm going to be fine. Yeah, that part. I'm going to act as a comedian all at the same time. Drop that dime. I ain't doing bad as I say. I pretend. Or I led you to ever believe. Because one thing that I do know, as I get ready to exit out my car door, he has always, will always, and shall forever always be my provider. I don't lack, baby. It's prosperity, life. Uh-oh, my bad. Abundance and redundance. Yeah, my light went off. Darkness has its place. Everything has its place in life. So again, for all of you and myself that are making this podcast, video, whatever you want to call it for, yeah, darkness, as you noticed. Thank you. That was a great illustration and a demonstration. Darkness has its place. It will forever have its place. But let's be clear, my dear. Light also has its place. And one thing it took for sure, you will never be able to stop this shine. It's internal, baby. It's internal. Trust that. It was given, embedded, imparted, and entrusted to me. to me. So, for all of y'all like me that's looking to be saved, delivered, and set free, keep tuning in to your girl where I'm a KIR, baby. Keep it real. As I heart me, I hope you I heart you. And IOU, Incest Overcomers United. Big facts, baby. I'm gonna make some money, honey, off of that one. He gonna make sure of it. Because everything works out for the good of them that love him, to those that have been called according to his purpose. So my earnest, heartfelt desire was, God, use everything for your glory. Take the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifference, and I ain't gonna be mad or sad about none of it. Because I lived it. I overcame it. Back it up. I had to survive it, first of all, before I was able to overcome it. But I overcame all of it and all of you. And I'ma still keep it true. Love and light always, baby.